I'm Tim Johnson, your elect, and I'm really excited about today's meeting. We're going to start off by asking our Zoom attendees to please mute yourselves and submit any questions or comments via chat, or to unmute yourself and let us hear you speak. Our invocation today will be given by Preston Keys. Please come forward.
Please bow your heads. Father in heaven, we pray that your presence be with us throughout this day in both our personal and professional lives. We ask for your blessing of all of those who serve to make the world a better place, both at home and abroad. We ask for your blessing for the sick, poor, homeless, and unborn. And we thank you for this meal, for this day, for our fellowship, for our families, and for Rotary. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Preston. Our our Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Brian London. He was our greeter today. Brian, would you please lead us in the pledge? There he is. Thank you. No, do it from there.
Please face the flag, put your right hand over your heart.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Thank you, Brian. So today's moment in history will be given by Carter. If you're ready to give it, Carter, you're going to do a moment in history?
I don't have one off the top of my head. So
Well, listen, I just happened to have a moment in history I prepared. Are y'all ready for this? So I decided to do what I'm calling This Week in History. This Week in History, the pioneering animator, writer, voice actor, and film producer, Walt Disney, was born in Chicago. This year, the movie Ocean's 11, not this year, but this week, the movie Ocean's 11 premiered on the big screen. And this one I'm going to have some fun with. The $1 Million Quartet met in Memphis, Tennessee's recording studio. And I know that Joe Springer knows who the $1 Million Quartet was, I guess, at this point.
Elvis, Cash,
Two more.
Perkins, and
3 names. First one begins with J.
Joe Springer.
Jerry Lee
Lewis. Okay. Yep.
One more nugget of history. Everybody loves a parade. That was evident this past Saturday in Franklin, Tennessee, when the predicted all-day rain didn't stop thousands of people from lining the streets. Miraculously, less than 30 minutes before the parade began, the on and off drizzle stopped and the parade went on without another drop. The Franklin Christmas Parade is a tradition that dates back 57 years to the mid-1960s. Although around 1975, the Franklin Center Chamber of Commerce took over and tried organizing what would become a popular event, but discovered they couldn't do it on their own. So in 1980, the Kiwanis Club offered some help. They took over the staging of the locations and organizing the lineup and getting people to the parade and moving on time, while the chamber took care of all the administrative parts. They remained involved, working together until 2022, when they decided to let it go. No parade in 2022. During that last decade, Kiwanis membership stopped growing. Members were aging out. Eventually, the membership dropped to only 10, and only 8 of those 10 worked on the parade. But when residents of Franklin, Tennessee began asking who was going to do the parade this year, who was going to do it for 2023, and no one stepped up, the Franklin Downtown Rotary decided it was a match that they wanted to take on. In This Week in History, the Williamson Herald published the headline, Downtown Franklin Rotary excels at presenting this year's Christmas parade. That's your week in history, everybody. All right, let's do some pop-ups. Ed Lombard, was there any football this weekend?
Congratulations, Chris Berge, on our last regular season pick. Congrats, Chris.
Is Mary Pat here? I don't see her, so I'll make the announcement that there's an opportunity for the Alhambra fundraiser sign up. Tickets sheets are at your table. Are they at the table there?
Yes.
I haven't sat down yet. All right, you can sign up there for your tickets. And I want to thank everybody who went out and supported the Salvation Army bell ringing project last week. I heard it went really well. And there's no lunch meeting next week because we're having a Christmas party. That's Wednesday evening, December 13th. I'm going to be there. Be sure to RSVP via DAC-DB. All right. Is Mike Crumpler here? I don't see Mike either. So it doesn't look like we have a family of Rotary report. And we're not going to conduct the drawing this week. So, Carter, can I call on you now? Are you aware of any visiting Rotarians and guests?
I did not see any visiting Rotarians today. Please let me know if anybody does have visiting Rotarian.
All right, I don't see any either. I appreciate you being here. It's all family day. All right, Ed Lombard's going to come up and he's going to introduce today's speaker.
So it's my pleasure. Thank Alberta Hips. I got to meet Ed Perez a couple months ago. Unbelievable dynamic speaker. He's a blessing to Jacksonville. He's a Cuban immigrant. The American dream. Worked at CSX for over 40 years as an IT executive. He's done over 40 international mission trips around the world, helping people in need, giving people hope in a hopeless world. Let's give a warm West Jacksonville Rotary welcome to my friend Ed Perez.
Thank you very much. Want to make sure I know you're recording everything. So,
We're good.
so thank you for the opportunity to allow me to be here with you. It is an honor. I also thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, who's my foundation and my reason for being. Without him, I would not be alive today.
Amen.
So let me share a little bit about my life, and then I will go into my ministry and some lessons learned from there. So I want you to imagine being a young person and you're in your town and there are explosions. Bombs are exploding, machine guns are going, and you hit the ground. And you're laying there for what appears to be forever. And you wonder if you're going to be alive. And your heart is beating, and you do not know what is going on. And then everything stops. And you get up. And you look to the right, and you see the face of a child completely destroyed due to shrapnel. You look to the other side, you see a mom whose stomach is completely destroyed. You hear the cries of fathers and mothers and children for what's going on. I remember looking to the side and seeing a rebel there. And I could still, sense the smell and the long hair and so forth that he had there. That impacted my life. Imagine being in your house and your house is being, and your town is being attacked. And you're under fire for 3 days. And you're laying there And the next thing you know, the ground is shaking. And it's shaking, you have no idea what it is. And later on, you found out that there were bombs that are coming your way. And I remember laying there and wondering what death would feel like. I remember laying there and wondering, would it hurt? But the biggest fear I had was that when I died, I would not be able to see my mom and my dad. But you know, we all can impact other people. And in that time, the person that impacted me and impacted each one of us was my mom. Because while all of us were absolutely scared to death, my mom just put her head down and she prayed. And when she opened her eyes, there was a level of peace in her that was amazing. And that impacted each one of us. So you see, all of us, it doesn't matter the stress, it doesn't matter the challenge, it doesn't matter the problems, have the ability, by the way we handle it, to not only touch ourselves, but to touch around all of us. Imagine hearing your mom cried all night long because your dad had been picked up and he was in jail, and at night is when they, in Spanish, they call fusilar. They would go ahead and take him out and kill them. I remember my mom crying because we did not know until the next day whether or not my father was alive or dead. I remember being in the middle of the town when a sergeant in the military approached my mom and made suggestions about what she could do to try to help him and see what he could do to help him. I remember that man touching my mom inappropriately. And I swore at that point that I would kill him if I ever get a hold of him. I had never forgotten, and that's one of the passions that I have, is defending and protecting women, because I have never forgot what my mom had gone through there. Imagine seeing your dad, who had worked so hard for so many years through communism. At the blink of an eye, everything is nationalized, and now he has lost everything he had. Imagine arriving in this country, and what a blessing that was. But I want you to imagine arriving here without a penny, not knowing how you're going to survive, not knowing how you're going to eat, not knowing where you're going. We didn't have cell phones at that point. So imagine if you get lost, what do you do? Who do you call? Where do you go? How do you communicate when you cannot understand? But you know, we serve an amazing God because He provided opportunities. So, you know, and this was amazing. So we found out that these crazy Americans would throw things away that actually worked. Because at that point in our lives, we had one fork, one knife, one cup, and so forth for a whole family. We didn't have anything else. We had limited clothes. And next thing you know, on Thursday, we would go out, and it was Christmas for us. And before you know, we had everything we need for a home. But more important than that, we found an ironing board. And guess what we did? We started a small business, ironing. And then we found someone who threw away a sewing machine. Business number 2. So within a matter of 3 months in being in this country, my dad was working as a dishwasher. That's the first job he was able to get. And now my mom and I had business to run. You see, it doesn't matter how difficult things are. What other people see as trash, what other people see and throwing away, it is really gold. So when we open our mind and we see what is available, we will find opportunities that are just amazing. But from there, we went to Baltimore, and that was really difficult for me. I was, at that point, they didn't know what PTSD was. All they knew was that they had this Cuban guy who couldn't speak English, who would fight anybody. He was angry all the time. What they did not know was that I would wake up in the middle of the night and the images of death was there. What they did not know was that I would wake up and my heart is about to explode. What they did not know was that I would wake up at night and I would cry. What they did not know was that I felt so much pain that I prayed to God to take my life. So what I did is what a lot of young people do today, is try to control what I could control, and what I controlled was violence. And I found out that I could fight, and I found out that you give me a switchblade and there was no one I would not fight. I didn't care how big you were. I did not care who you were. I would fight you and I would destroy you if you get in front of me. When we look at our young people today, and we see a lot of our young people, and you hear about them being shot and the violence that goes with it, each and every one of us, I often think that is another Perez. I have been blessed to be recognized with the President of the United States voted to the NFL as one of the top Hispanic leaders in the nation, and all sorts of accolades and so forth. But what I would say is this: imagine what would have happened if I was to keep the life that I was. But I was blessed because God sent an angel into my life, and that angel was a coach, and he just one day grabbed me by the neck and threw me against the wall and asked me, "What are you doing? Why are you so angry about life? How can you tell someone that you were looking at those images at night?" I was afraid that if I shared that with them, they would think that I was crazy. I was mentally ill. But this coach never gave up. And he told me that life is about energy, and you got negative and positive energy. When you take that positive energy and direct it the proper way, it's amazing what you could do. So I started playing sports, and I played soccer, and I wrestled and run track, and eventually went into martial arts. And I went into martial arts, and I studied martial arts, taught it, and taught for 15 years. Without that coach coming into my life, I would not be here today. Everyone that I was with in that time is either dead, ended up in jail, or his life is completely destroyed. But because this individual took the time to invest in me, it totally changed who I am. And again, that's the power that each and every one of us has. When we see a young person frustrated, think of this. When you think of that young person that is belligerent, know that he's scared. When you see someone in the grocery store that is struggling, reach out to them, because you never know the impact you would have. The coach that came into my life, he passed away before he and I could talk. He has no idea what the impact he had in my life. But God sent me another angel, and that angel was an elderly lady, and she suggested I would go to college. And I remember looking at her and saying, you got to be crazy. Look at my shoes. I have holes in my shoes. I have no money. I can barely speak English. I'm going to a vocational school, and you think I'm going to go to college? You want me to go to Tennessee? I don't even know which country Tennessee is at. There's no way I'm going to go ahead and go anyplace else. But she never gave up. I kept on saying, I can't pass the test. I'm going to coach you. I have no money. God will provide. So I ended up going to college, to a small school in Tennessee called Milligan College. I graduated in 4 years with 3 majors. She was right. God will provide. What God provided was 3 jobs that I held I slept 3 or 4 hours a night. You see, God provides. The opportunities are there. The problem is we give up too easily. And the one thing I speak to young people today is that there is a misconception that life's supposed to be easy. It isn't. And giving up is the wrong thing. So I have been blessed with angels throughout my life that God has sent to me. I had a great career. I've traveled and I've done a lot of different things. So I graduated, retired after 42 years at CSX, and started a nonprofit organization called Three Grains of Rice Mission. So what do we do? What does Three Grains of Rice Mission, what do we do? So our verticals are homelessness, women and children that are in distress. Most of the work we do is in Northeast Florida. We have about 10% that we do internationally. But what makes us unique is that the question we ask to nonprofits that we believe are in the same vertical as we are is, what can we do to make you more efficient? What can we do to help you become more impactful? What we do is provide opportunities to individuals to volunteer. So far today, we have clocked over 30,000 volunteer hours. With those hours, we have been able to upgrade 23 homes right now in San Agustin for the St. John's Homeless Coalition for Single Moms. We have built 7 apartments. We have upgraded the facility of Hogar Crea, which is a recovery center of 510. Overnight, people would come, they would steal their food because it was not enclosed. We were able to do so. We were able to upgrade Trinity Rescue Mission. Their women and children's center had not been upgraded for 10 years. We were able to do that. We were able to raise the money for it and do that part of it all. That is on the volunteering side. But you know, what's amazing about this is this. It's not only the impact that we have to others, but volunteering has an impact on you and I. I have seen individuals being completely transformed and given a purpose when they go out and help other folks because they realize how blessed they truly are. I have seen organizations and corporations change their culture. When they start emphasizing serving and caring, they find that their employees becomes more sensitive to their customers and customer service. I can tell you the story of an elderly lady. She is married, is now 85, 87, and she came to volunteer with us, and she sat in this tiny little place, and we were painting this area, and she just took the brush, and she just sat there and just brushed for hours and hours and hours. But when she was finished, she was able to look back and see what she had done. That totally transformed her life. She has been working in Pace for Girls now and has done an amazing job. That's the opportunity that part. But the other thing that's unique about us is we run with 2 part-time employees. I do not draw a salary. God bless me with a great career. So the dollars that come in, our overhead cost is minimal coming through there. The other question we ask is, we live in a world of abundance, right? So we ask, what do you do with your extra things? What do you do with your extra items? I was in San Agustin on the bridge, talking to this gentleman. He had been working for 2 years, live under a bridge inside of a refrigerator box, and asked him, what can I do to help you? And he said, my biggest problem is transportation. So I went to UNF and asked, what do you guys do with your bikes when the year ends? And the fellow said, oh, man, this is a major problem for us because the young people buy the bikes. When they leave, they're leaving behind. So I left with 48 bikes. Those bikes, when you go to San Agustin and you see them riding, and some up here in Duval, most of them in San Agustin, came from there. We have been able to distribute nearly now $4 million worth of medical supplies to Cuba, Ukraine, simply by asking the same question, to go into Mayo and Baptist and UF Health and say, what do you do with your ex-drivers? We have talked to corporations about food distribution. And now we're able to distribute anywhere between 12 to 18 pallets of food on a monthly basis. We have challenged organizations and individuals to go into their pantry. And actually, this is the good time you're in coming up, to go into your pantry and look at what you have. And if you have non-personal items that have not expired, and you've had it for 6 to 9 months, create a box, put it there. If you go to the store and you get 2 for $1, put the second one in that box. We have challenged organizations. We have left with a box truck of food. The same with the clothing. You know, if you have clothing you haven't worn for a year, it's the same opportunity. All of us can make a difference. We started a scholarship program for single moms because we are seeing more and more single moms become homeless with jobs because they cannot afford the rent anymore. And what we're often being told is, you know, we're taking care of the homeless situation. And the way they take care of it is by taking that individual and put them into a housing program. That doesn't fix the problem. What that creates is dependency. And dependency, what it does, when you have dependency, you take away the dignity of an individual. So we started a scholarship program. We began working with FCCJ, and some of the changes that have taken place. If you can prove you are homeless, you can go tuition free. They also have now a counselor for individuals so that when a person that is homeless goes there, because the first couple of people we sent, I'll be honest with you, it was a nightmare because of all the processes and all the things you had to go through. This counselor is not only going to help the individual through the selection process, but they will help them and guide them to get housing and to get a job. That's what needs to take place. I can, in four months, I can take a lady, put them through trucking school, and they'll start making $60,000 a year. I can put them through warehousing, and they'll start making $22 to $28 an hour. That is what needs to happen in order to resolve the issue that takes place. Internationally, it's not only the medical supplies we have sent out, but the other area that is near and dear to my heart because it impacted my life, and that is the way to take young people away from gangs is through sports. And we have leveraged the soccer programs. In Cuba, we have extracted, working with a pastor, over 100 young people away from gangs. You attract them through sports, and once you have it, you guide them and help them through there. In Cali, Colombia, we have 4 soccer programs running. One of those soccer programs, which is it's just amazing, it's a God thing. One of those teams was selected to play at the stadium, the national stadium, when one of the teams from Spain was coming there. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine living in the ghettos and doing that and that taking place? So we are working in a number of areas. We are, you know, we have outing programs for single moms. We are going to start a financial literacy program because what we're finding out is that it's not going to do us any good help someone make more money if we don't teach them how to manage the money. And it is a major, major problem, especially among single moms. They don't know how to balance a checkbook. They don't know how to create budgets. They do not know what project management or life management is all about. So that's part of what we want to go ahead and we're going to institute. We were blessed to receive a branch from ViStar. They donated to us. We are right now at Edison, which is, that area is the #1 drug area and #2 crime area. And we are there working with the folks there. So, that's a little bit about what we're all about. But let me tell you about my dreams, all right? Because I think there's opportunities there. So my vision is that we will bring missionaries to Jacksonville. Actually, what we've already had one group there that's coming in December. So the goal is being missionaries from all over the United States coming to Jacksonville. They come here and they work on projects to make our city a much better place. But while they're here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna teach them what we do. We're gonna teach them the process. We're gonna share with them our operational manual. So when they go back to their cities, they're able to duplicate what we are doing. Not under our name, they can do it however they wanna do it. It is our goal down the road that we will have around, well, next year it's gonna be close to 200 that are coming from all over the United States. The vision someday is to have a house where those individuals will be able to come and we'll be able to have between 10 to 15 per week, 3 times a month for the whole year. And eventually we'll make that an international component. The other area that I think is critical, and this is big dream out there, is to have a farm. To have a farm where we have tiny houses, where we can take single moms there, when we can provide childcare. The focus would be not only to teach them a skill, but also focus on fitness, physical, spiritual, and health. They will have to work in the farm because that is all about dignity, respect. They would have to care for animals because in caring for animals, they learn to love because many of them, the last statistics, when I was working at Trinity, 65% of the women there have been sexually abused when they were a young child. So it becomes very difficult to love and care. So they will learn to love and care by taking care of those animals. They would care and would learn that their actions bring positivity when they farm in there. The idea and the goal is when they leave, they have a skill. They will have 6 months of savings. They will have a job. And they will start completely a new life. I also believe that can be duplicated not only there, but it can be duplicated internationally. And the 3 countries that we have selected that we're going to be working on, we're working in a number of areas. It's going to be the Dominican Republic because it's close by. Cuba is because that's where I came from, but I'll be honest with you, it's very, very difficult. It is very, very challenging to do that, even though there's a great need. And the other one is Colombia, in the ghettos of Colombia. And in the essence will be the same thing. One of the things that we're doing different there is that a lot of the ladies there, because of the culture, do not have a skill set and they end up making very poor choices. So not long ago, I challenged some folks about sewing, and I don't know anything about sewing, but it just sounded like a good thing. It is a good idea. So I just put it out there and I said, well, what if we teach these ladies to sew? And what happens if once they learn, they prove themselves, we provide them all the things they need to be able to start their own business. And before you know it, we had 48 sewing machines donated. We have now folks in Colombia, and we have folks in Guatemala right now that are providing and teaching ladies, single moms, to sew so they can become self-sufficient and there will be no dependency on it. So this has taught me a lot, this path. You know, I'm often told, asked, you know, what is an old guy like you doing this? What, you know, why aren't you just sitting around or traveling or whatever? You know, my message to them always is once you experience God's love and mercy, once you have gone through what I have, how can you not want to share? How can you not want to share with other people what has worked for your life? When I go into the ghettos, I've been in some of the most violent places in Central South America and in Cuba. When I go into those ghettos, I'm not talking to them about what I read in the book. I talk to them about my experiences. And what I would challenge you is this. Each and every one of us have experiences. Each and every one of us have made mistakes. Each and every one of us have recovered from something. Each and every one of us have seen highs and lows. Imagine what would happen if all of us would start sharing that with other individuals. Because what you and I go through is not unique to us. That is unique to everyone in the world. And the message you would send would impact other lives. You would live forever through the life of other people. Your message, the way you react, will stay forever. You and I are farmers. We cultivate every day with the power of our mind, the quality of our hearts. We make decisions every day when we're tired. How we're going to react, how we're going to live our lives. Are we going to be negative, positive? Are we going to be depressed? Or are we going to be high on life? That not only impacts each and every one of us, it impacts our families and impacts those around us. So it has been, for me, is a blessing to do what I do. I will continue doing what I'm doing until I have no breath to give. Because I'm thankful for what God has done in my life. And for this, it's an amazing opportunity there. So with that in mind, I could stand here and talk to you forever. But with that in mind, whatever questions you may have, I'll be glad to address. Turn it on.
Right here. Just hold, there you go.
Great job, Ed. Once again, give this man a round of applause. The epitome of service over self. Great job. Can we help you out? We're gonna find some people that have some questions. Sure. All right, I'll take them the mic, you can answer.
Absolutely.
Just raise your hand. Any questions? Brandon? What kind of stuff do you take and where do we drop it off at?
So our facility is 3040 Edison. I'll give you my business card. You can text me or email. We some of the key items that we need are kitchen items. So when individuals, single moms are coming, from their facilities to a new apartments, they have absolutely nothing. So what we're focusing on kitchen items. Yeah, absolutely. And then, when it comes to clothing, what we say is what we give someone is a reflection of what we think of them. So if we give them clothing that are stained, that are in poor condition, it has a negative impact. I know that because, and I laughed about this, it wasn't funny though, but when I came here, they used to give me jeans with holes in it, right? And I told myself someday I'm gonna be rich enough so I don't have to have holes in my jeans, and now people are paying for jeans that have holes in them. So I guess I was born the wrong time. But we take that, mobility devices. If you know someone, I'm shocked often of how many wheelchairs and so forth are just dumped on the streets. I can take them, we can fix them, we can take them, we can ship them out. That part of, so the other one is, we're struggling a little bit with food. We are not getting as much, demand for food has increased. We're just not getting as much food as we can. So canned goods and any of those items will be appreciated. Yes, sir.
The downtown city council is looking for some help with the homeless situation. Have you talked to the city at all?
I have not. I've heard, I know there was an event that took place, I think it's last week or so. But I have not talked to them about it. But I'll be glad to go ahead and talk to them.
If you give me your business card, I'll make sure somebody calls you.
I will do it.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
We'll make that happen. Any more questions? All right, one more time, a round of applause. This is a token of our appreciation.
Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Let me take that off your hand.
All right.
Hopefully that works. All right, everybody, this has been a great meeting. I want to thank you all for treating me so well. This is gonna work? All right, I want to thank you all for treating me so well on my initial meeting. It's been a joy for me. I can't wait till next July. Not that I'm trying to put Dane out of the job, but just make it happen. All right, so I wanted to remind you about the list that's on your tables for the Alhambra tickets. Sign up for that. Those tickets are going fast. And also remember to RSVP for the Christmas party next Wednesday, December 13th. Ed Lombard, you're working double duty today. You're going to lead us in the four-way test.
Please join me, fellow Rotarians, of the things we think, say, or do first.
Is it the truth?
Second.
Is it fair to all concerned?
Third.
Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
And fourth.
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
And before we wrap up, one, let's go make history. And two, join me in thanking Tiffany and staff, Stu Irwin, Patty, my main man, Joe Springer. Brian jumped in. Brian London, appreciate you jumping in as our greeter and also jumping in today for the pledge. Join me in just showing them that you appreciate it. Enjoy your day. Great idea. Mike, you get my email? Yeah. Let's get Ed